Hello, and welcome to your Saturn series. It is my honor to be coming to you guys today to talk to you about the planet Saturn in astrology. And what do you know? Here Saturn is right here. Oh, shoot. Hello, Saturn. So, yes, we have a hieroglyph. I don't know really what we would call this, but my little planet Saturn is with us here. So of course, I'm going to have a little intro video in the beginning of all these. Let's make sure I'm, Saturn material. And let me tell you, before these videos, woo, I can feel the Saturn energy. Like, I guess we'll just get talking about it, guys. So, well, just a little fun fact. I am actually, I would say, a pretty important advocate of Saturn because I have a Capricorn rising, so that makes me very Saturnian ruled. And also, I'm just going to mute my computer so we don't have any distractions. And I have Saturn on my sun. So in astrology, sometimes we will have planets conjunct certain signs, right? And so for me, I was just lucky enough to be born with my sun in Pisces at 14 degrees. And what do you know? Saturn at 14 degrees Pisces as well. So I just couldn't let Saturn change signs without me talking about how just fabulous he is, right, guys? So this is some channeled messages. I'm just going to be channeling today. I have some notes here, though. I do have some notes just so everything can stay structured and timely and things like that. So let's get into a little bit about what Saturn represents and stands for in astrology, and then we can get into what Saturn's most recent shift into Capricorn is going to be affecting you personally by your sign, your astrology sign. So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, right? Capricorn is the 10th house in astrology. So that has everything to do with our career, our legacies, our long distance goals. So I would say when it comes to career and when it comes to our long distance goals and when it comes to our legacies, that's a very serious, part of the chart. The 10th house is also our midheaven. So our midheaven in astrology is symbolic for, well, our career, of course, but more so the direction in life that we need to go. Okay, so it's interesting to compare the midheaven to the north node because the midheaven is kind of like a mini north node in our astrology charts. And according to the midheaven, you can determine what your astrological boss is because the 10th house is the house of bosses and authority figures. So when we talk about the 10th house, you guys, we're also talking about Saturn. We're also talking about Capricorn. These energies all go together. They all bounce from each other, So when we think of Capricorn and we think of the mountain goat and the sea goat and how ambitious these signs are, Capricorn is actually one of the most misunderstood zodiac signs. They're very, very mysterious. Very, very mysterious. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're ruled by such an interesting planet. And it's not only interesting, it's just everybody wants to avoid Saturn. Like, it's not nothing to play around with. Saturn gets a bad rep. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys in these videos. And this is just my opinion. There's a lot of different, oh yeah, I got my little Saturn necklace, you guys, if anybody just saw that. I wanted to really make this symbolic for us here today. So, as I was saying, I'm going to do my best to interpret Saturn. And, since I have Saturn on my sun and since I have a Capricorn rising, I'm very, very Saturnian ruled, and I'm going to do my best to explain the good, explain the bad, explain the pretty, the ugly, and everything in between. So, Saturn. We haven't even talked about the fact that Saturn is the lord of karma. Okay, so Saturn, when I think of Saturn, I think about karma. And it's interesting that Saturn has these rings, right, that go around it because what goes around comes around, right? And that is a famous saying that is related to karma. So, it's basically you reap what you sow, you know what I mean? And I'm a very, very advocate for that. I very much believe in that people, get what they deserve, whether it be good or bad. So yes, Lord of Karma, Saturn is, I like to think of Saturn as a military dad. So, and not just a military dad, but a very serious father figure, right? Saturn is a very serious planet. Everything has to be serious. Everything has to be constricted. So serious that I'm gonna put this incense out after I let you guys have a little bit of the energy, I guess. But yeah, anything like that. Like, for instance, when I first started to sit down to record these videos, my computer was updating. And I hate when my computer does that because it takes so long and I'm just on a time limit today. So I just sat here for, oh my God, it took so long for my computer to update. And it was so funny to me because I'm like, Saturn, what you doing, man? What are you doing? Like, I'm trying to record your videos, So, yeah, I felt that was kind of, I think everything's a sign. So that was just kind of funny, to go through that. So yes, very serious planet that rules restrictions. Saturn is all about limitations. Okay, these are the more harsher terms. Saturn is about rules, regulations, doing everything in a timely manner, right? Saturn, it's like amazing. Like, and if you think of Saturn, and then Capricorns are Saturnian ruled people. So, the Capricorns I know, very hardworking. I'm like, how did you clean your house, go to work, pick up your dog, mow the lawn, solve world hunger, and you look fabulous? Like, how do you do that? So, shout out to the Capricorns watching. It's your energy. And, I'm a Capricorn rising, so my spirit is Capricorn, and I come off like a Capricorn, but I'm a Pisces. So, that's just an energy there. But Capricorn sun signs, they work really hard, very ambitious people, all about their goals, and actually they're a lot about respect as well, right? So when you think of Saturn as well, you have to think of respect and authority, So when it comes to authority figures, which is anybody in a uniform, the military, police officers, anything like that, that would be a Saturnian ruled figure. And I think of Saturn as a military dad, to the point where you could clean your room spick and span, and Saturn will wipe his finger on the desk and see just a little bit of dirt. I actually do have dirt on my desk, so sorry, Saturn, but he'll be like, you do it again. It wasn't right. You did it 30 seconds later than I wanted. That's not right. Now, let's get in a little bit before my intro ends here. I wanted to end it on a more positive note, because Saturn, when you think of, and I know there's some of you watching who actually did grow up, some of us had authoritarian parents. I had an Aquarius mom, and that's so ironic because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also rules Capricorn. So I guess, guys, when we're talking about these videos, when we're listening to this video, when we're hearing these messages today, we want to think about Aquarius and Capricorn, right? So it's interesting that Saturn is most at home in the 10th house, legacy, career, long-term goals, and also in the 11th house, which is groups of people, right? There is karma involved in groups of people, our community, our humanitarian, what we do to serve our community and the groups of people we associate with. So there is karma involved in that as well. So as I was saying, some of you who are watching, you may have grown up with an authoritarian parent. And this doesn't have to be a Capricorn or Aquarius. This could be any parent, because we all have different energy, right? This could be any parent that was just really strict. So I think strict is a good word to call Saturn. So I'm going to put that here just so I can remember that. Strict. Saturn is really strict. And okay, we're going to get into the more positive here, because where I was going with that is that, at the time when all these people are hard on us and, oh, clean it twice and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, at the time it fucking sucks. We grow to hate these people. Saturn is a pretty hated planet, unfortunately. But throughout life, we find ourselves oddly thanking these people, right? And we hate it. We hate to admit that. But it's the people who showed us structure, the people who showed us limitations and responsibility and hard work ethic. It's like going to the military when you're talking about Saturn. And it's because Saturn symbolizes, and Saturn is aware of what you do now is going to come back around to you. So if you put in the hard work now, if you're responsible now, if you work hard now, whatever you do now, it's important because it's your then. Your now is your then. Your now is your later. And that's a very Saturnian energy. So it's important, that we have these energies, because a lot of planets, and I have to say it, Neptune is one of those planets that don't really have this kind of energy. Neptune's like, chill. It'll happen when it happens, like, just do it whatever you want. It's okay that you were an hour late. It was meant to be, like water signs and water planets are, I would say, they lack boundaries. Okay, I love water. I'm a water sign. I love water. I'm all about water. But water takes the shape of its container, right? Water takes the shape of its container. And that's my little water spell that I did for the Cancer moon there. But yeah, water if you pour water into a square container, the water is going to look square, right? Water is also reflecting. So, that's a whole different story there. That's my little joke there to tell you that there's some planets that every planet, here's how I'll say this. Every planet has its duty. Every planet has its job and its position and everything like that. It has what it stands for. Every planet is symbolic for something, right? Neptune, the dream world, fantasy, illusion sometimes, Well, Saturn is actually the opposite of what you would think when you think Jupiter. And that's interesting because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius comes right before Capricorn. So Jupiter, and even the symbols, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see the symbol it's kind of dark, so I won't show it there. But just go ahead and look up the Saturn symbol, and then you can look at the Jupiter symbol, and they're kind of inverted, like it's to show you how opposite these signs are. So Jupiter is basically the opposite of the planet Saturn. Jupiter is all about expanding. It's all about making, it's the biggest planet in our solar system. So it's about expansion. It's about the higher knowledge of things, the deeper meaning, broadening your intellect and your philosophy, your teaching, learning, all that kind of stuff right there. And I'm talking about that because Saturn just got out of Sagittarius. So, Saturn being in Sagittarius, that was a very oxymoron. That was a really push and pull energy because, well, I think Saturn, I can channel Saturn, and I feel like Saturn for the past 3 years actually took a break. Like, deuces, you guys can handle your own karma. I'm going in Sagittarius where I'm going to party and put my feet up. But when I come back in 2008, if you didn't do the things that I taught you, Saturn in Scorpio, if you didn't do the things I taught you, Saturn in Libra, boy, am I going to come down hard on you. And Saturn in Capricorn, this is home, okay? Saturn is home. He's in Capricorn. And it's interesting because in 3 years, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, Saturn is home. I would say Saturn is more home in Capricorn. This grounded, quick, on its feet energy. Capricorns, they don't care. They don't have, I'm not saying Capricorns don't feel, but they don't feel as much as a water sign does. Because let me tell you, sometimes if I don't feel good enough to do something, my Capricorn rising completely gets thrown to the side. It's like, I don't feel like it. The energy today is just a little bit rough. I don't really feel like it. And then that's my emotions. I make emotional decisions. Now, Saturn is at home in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius because those signs get shit done. They're responsible. Aquarius they're very futuristic thinking signs. So Saturn's all about your long-term goals. So it likes Aquarius. Aquarius thinks about the future. Aquarius is the star card where you're pouring from this end and you're pouring from that end. And it's interesting that Capricorn is the devil card, so that's a whole different story. I might have to do an entirely different video. Actually, I am doing kind of I'm going to be talking about the devil card and the real meaning of the devil card before Capricorn season ends. I'm going to do that a little bit towards the end of Capricorn season. That way I have a lot of energy to work with. But yeah, guys, Saturn. Okay, this is my intro video, trying to make it as structured as I can, but at the same time, I'm a Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn mix. So, this is just me being real. So I hope you're learning, and yeah, I think you'll learn more in the videos that are about your personal sign. So restrictions, limitations, boundaries. Well, but I would say boundaries is more of the positive side, right? That's why I went into that detail about water taking the shape of its glass, because water can lack boundaries sometimes. Water actually needs a foundation to have a shape, right? Water shapes us in astrology. So, the good part about Saturn is that it teaches us self-control. It teaches us boundaries and limits and structure. We do need those things in life, guys. So I'm glad that we have an energy in the universe that is an asshole enough to do that without caring about how we feel, right? Because sometimes we just have to get things done. This is our karma we're talking about here. When we're done with this realm, we carry that with us. So Saturn is actually an energy that stays with us. Like, what do you think about this come around, go around thing? I love cycles. So Saturn works in a cycle, and it's a cycle that you create before, during, and after life. So Saturn's an energy. I feel like Saturn might be the first energy that you see when you pass on. Like, what'd you do? What'd you do with your life on Earth, huh? Did you do this? Did you do that? How long did it take you? Oh, well, you know that you're gonna have, like, the reason Saturn is so serious is because he knows that whatever you did, you will face again. So you want to just be woke. You wanna pay attention to the things that are going on around this time. The karma that you're producing and designing for yourself, because we're all responsible for our own karma. And then we can get into the whole story about how you can actually affect other people's karma, which is, the karma for that is a beast. So Saturn is a very, very, very interesting energy, and I'm honored to talk to you guys today about what Saturn is going to be doing. So responsibilities, commitments, authority figures, teachers. It's a masculine energy, so Saturn actually rules our fathers. Saturn is discipline, and we talked about Saturn being rules and regulation. So that is all the hard facts about Saturn. I really just kind of want to, I have notes as well for the videos that I'll be doing for your guys' personal signs. I do want to channel a bit more though. I don't really like this structured energy. It makes me feel like, okay, let's check that off, when really I just do better when I flow. Okay, so just hang in there with me, guys. You're gonna feel the Saturnian energy in me a little bit, but you're also gonna see it in that creative Pisces way, and then I'm gonna ground everything with my Taurus moon. Okay, so this is my Saturn series. My intro video is way longer than what I wanted it to be. Sorry, Saturn. All right, so just learn through me that Saturn low-key secretly understands that nothing's perfect, right? Perfection is Virgo, right? Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign. Perfection is Virgo. So Capricorn secretly knows that things can't always be perfect, guys. Okay, it's just about doing your best. Okay, it's about doing your absolute best. Work hard, play hard, things like that. The balance between work and play. It's about it's about taking yourself seriously. Okay, that's what this energy is about. So as long as you do that, and if you don't fall into that, oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do that good enough, trust me, I'm already doing it. It is what it is. I need the material first. So keep this in mind, guys, that when you're doing a project or when you're doing anything that needs structure or boundaries or things like that, get it there first, do it first, and then let Saturn come in and teach you, oh, well, this was too long. You talk too long about this, that. Saturn will let you know everything that is not up to par. Okay, so let's get into your personal readings, and we will see what Saturn is doing in your astrology sign. All right, guys, I'll see you in the other videos. See ya. Hey, Cancer, welcome to your Saturn videos, where I'm going to be talking about Saturn and its recent shift into your 7th house, you guys. Woo! This is a very, very groovy, cool, intense place for Saturn to be in your chart. And we're going to be talking all about that today, right? These videos are going to be a little shorter, guys, but this is just a generalized information that I've grabbed. I got my notes here. And I'm going to be channeling some of this information too to see what comes up with the Saturnian energy. but I do have some notes here of some of the most important topics that I felt that you would need to hear for Saturn being in your 7th house, okay? So, it's interesting. Gemini just went through this. So if you know any Geminis, any astrology woke Geminis, you can talk to them about how Saturn fell in Sagittarius for them the last 3 years. Saturn has moved into Capricorn. Capricorn is your guys' opposite sign, you guys. Capricorn is our opposite sign is always our 7th house, right? Back here on the wheel, Aries and Libra are opposite, Taurus and Scorpio, we all have an opposite. And our opposite is also our 7th house. So when it comes to our rising sign, our 7th house is our descendant. We have an ascendant and a descendant. And the opposite of our rising sign is our 7th house. I have a Capricorn rising. So my spirit is a little bit opposite of you guys. And opposite isn't bad. It just means it's almost like yin and yang. It's very, very harmonious. So we have Saturn opposite your sun. I just talked to Gemini about the relief they may feel about Saturn moving in to their 8th house instead of their 7th house. But now, instead of Saturn being in your guys' 6th house, we have Saturn moving into your 7th house. Whew. So this is Saturn opposite your guys' sun. This is the main thing. Well, not the main thing, but it's an important aspect that I want you guys to realize. When we have an energy, okay, for instance, we had a full moon in Cancer on the 1st. When we were all turning up for New Year's, we had a full moon in Cancer the first few days of January. I believe the moon just entered Leo a day ago or so. So we had this Cancer energy right at the beginning of the January, beginning of this 2018, right? And it's because we're in Capricorn season. Every year around January, we have a full moon in Cancer because every January we have a Capricorn season. And what I'm trying to say is that that's why the opposites aren't bad. They're very beautiful because whatever zodiac season we're in, we're going to have a full moon in the opposite sign. So when it's Aquarius season next month or later on this month, we're going to have a Leo full moon or eclipse. So just to keep that in mind there, that Capricorn is your guys' opposite sign. So I'm not sure how you do with this Capricornian energy or how you do with, you know, this Saturnian energy. You're ruled by the moon, Cancer. You're ruled by a very emotional, soul-related sign. And Saturn's serious. You know, Saturn doesn't really have much to do with emotion. You know, things like that. So you want to keep that in mind, that this energy, it can play itself out differently with you, right? I don't like my hair right now. There must be some pretty intense people watching right now. I feel the energy. Or maybe this is just the energy, right? But I'm going to get out of my head. And I don't know, maybe for some of you, oh wow, yeah, that could be very true with the 7th house. But before we get into whatever I was just getting ready to say, I'll probably remember it. But we could be worrying about, you know, and maybe it's my Capricorn rising, just kind of, you know, see, hey Cancer, I like Cancers. But yeah, this is all about, okay, 7th house Saturn. And the reason why I'm saying some of you maybe want to look a little bit better and stuff like that and worried about your appearance, because the 7th house has everything to do with karmic relationships. Well, not the 7th house. The 7th house has everything to do with relationships and partnerships. Now, not just love partnerships, guys. We have a relationship with everything. We have a relationship with our kids. We have a relationship with our job. We have a relationship with our world. And most importantly, we have a relationship with ourselves. Okay, so this is when Saturn enters your 7th house. I would say that it has a lot to do with karmic relationships and partnerships. So we're going to be talking a lot today about karmic partnerships and relationships. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with what a karmic partnership and relationship looks like, or what it is, now this is someone that you're destined to be with. It doesn't always work out with a karmic relationship or partner. It just means that you guys are destined to do work together. You have unfinished business with each other, right? So I would be excited if I were you, Cancer. Now, I've been in karmic relationships before, and they're not all fun and games. You came to this person to hash out this person could have killed you in a past life. So you're just destined to find them in this life, because I'd be damned if I don't, right? You have unfinished business. They need to apologize to you for something, or there's something that well, Saturn rules our karma, you know? So Saturn wants you to hash certain things out with certain people. And for others of you, you know, this could be the breaking up with certain people. I know for sure when karmic relationships come in, it kind of it's up here on the importance bar. So if you're with someone who you don't really have, you could have been comfortably with someone for the last 3 years, chilling, eating dinner at the table every night, got a few kids, everything's cool, fireplace going, and then all of a sudden, now that Saturn's in your seventh house, boom, this karmic partner is important. So it's gonna coincide in kind of domino effect to where certain people may exit your life just so that these karmic relationships and karmic partners can come in. Now, we don't want to get too caught up on relationship love, because this could be any relationship. Some of you could make new friendships. Some of you could be making new business relationships and partnerships, and just know it's karmic. Now, the other end of this, if you don't really apply to that, and now this is the next 3 years, guys. So this information isn't like my other videos. This information has 3 years to manifest, because Saturn is going to be in Capricorn. It's going to be home. It's very comfortable in Capricorn as well, because it rules Capricorn. So just know this has a long time to manifest. I'm not sure. I think it'll be different for all of you. So with that being said, it brings in these relationships, it brings in these partnerships for on the other end of the spectrum, because Saturn, it kind of works in two different ways. It can bring in karmic things, or it can keep out karma. Karma is about either getting or giving, right? You could give to give somebody this $5. Like, I walk by somebody, a homeless person, and is it their karma or my karma that I give them $5? Could be both, right? So that's just my way of saying that sometimes Saturn calls you to do something, and sometimes Saturn restricts you from doing something. It all depends on your karmic path, right? So with that being said, some of your relationships as a Cancer, for the next 3 years, if you find yourself more single, you guys are the hermit crabs, so you guys could be hermiting around this time. I don't think you're going to be alone for the next 3 years, but you could take interest. Some of you could have this strange interest in being alone for the next 3.5 years, 2.5 years, whatever, because of Saturn restricting your 7th house. So it's protecting you, Cancer, and you're all about protection, right? You're the crab, you're all about protection. So you just want to keep in mind here that Saturn is here to give you healthy boundaries. Saturn's here to inflict rules and regulations. So this is relationship rules. This can be kind of interesting, right? Because relationships should be about love and honesty, and they should just be fun and great and loving, you know what I mean? But, when Saturn enters this area, the relationships take a harsh turn to, we're not just here to have sex or to be in the honeymoon stage. We're not here to just go out to the movies. Like, this is relationships getting very serious, Cancer. So, I'm not saying that all of you will be restricted or that all of you will go inside this kind of protecting shell. Just know that your partners, and this is even family members, friends, siblings, people you work with, anybody you have a relationship with, whether it's a mother-daughter relationship or a next-door neighbor relationship, you just want to be careful, because karma has the potential to play out in your 7th house now, okay? So karma can show itself to you based on your relationship. So, that's good or bad. If you do something bad in your relationships or your partnerships, so if you lie to your business partner, man, I don't know where the deposit went, knowing damn well maybe you took the deposit. And I'm not saying you're that way, Cancer, it's just an example. An example of someone doing something negative in a partnership would be stealing money or lying or not doing the work or making the other partner do all the work. Now, that would be a good example. If you're a Cancer and you do that for the next 3 years, it may come back to bite you, right? Saturn has these rings. What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around, right? So in the past, we can't just talk about right now. In the past, how you've treated your relationships or how other people have treated you, that's a good one too. They're going to receive their karma, and you're going to receive your karma. So that's something I really didn't say to the other signs, but it's interesting that I realized that. Cancer, you always teach me so much. You guys are such beautiful people. So during your reading just now, I realized, so now when I do Leo and Virgo and when I do the rest of the zodiac wheel, I'm going to keep in mind that this is also other people's karma. This is karma in general. So how you've treated other people and how they treat you, relationships and partnership wise, if you were treated bad in a partnership, then, the karma it can manifest. It can manifest. Basically, Saturn is wearing a 7th house costume for you. So it's going to show, it can show, Cancer, karma the best way through relationships and partnerships now. The seventh house also has to do with it's the opposite of Aries, right? And that's why I feel like it's very important to mention here the relationship you have with yourself. I realized that the other night, just randomly thinking. I was like, wow, Aries is the first house of self, and Libra is the seventh house of relationships. So it's interesting, the opposite sign of self is, you ever realize when you get in a relationship, sometimes you can change. That person can have an influence over you. So, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to the relationship with self. And I'm going to put that here just because. Relationship with yourself. How you've treated yourself, it's karmic now. So Cancer, I'm not sure how well you treat yourself. You're very, very empathetic, and you're very, very emotional and loving and healing and nurturing. So you want to make sure that over the next 3 years, it's very, very important that you're giving yourself the love that you deserve to. Because when it comes to the relationships you're seeking now, they have a lot to do with karma. Where before you could be with anybody and Saturn wasn't really working in that way with you. But now that Saturn's here, it's where karma is. And like I said, some of your relationships and business partnerships, friendships, any relationships, it could be limited. So you want to create healthy boundaries in your partnerships, in your relationships. Don't let people get over on you. And since Saturn is all about hard work and responsibility, make sure your relationship is equal, because Libra is all about balance. So, you really, if you're a Cancer and you're in an unfair relationship, and what I mean by that is if you feel that, that you haven't been treated right, or that you're carrying most of the weight, it doesn't matter what your partner thinks, Saturn is going to come in and give them karma. And I think Saturn likes you guys because it's opposite. So in a way, Saturn wouldn't be who Saturn was if it wasn't for Cancer. Capricorn wouldn't be Capricorn if it wasn't for Cancer. Now see, Cancer, water signs, like I mentioned in my intro video, water signs take the shape of its container, right? Here's my Cancer water that I used for the Cancer moon, and it's been sitting on my desk, and it's beautiful and gorgeous. I poured the water into this container, and now it looks like this, right? If I were to pour this into a different container, this is Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer we're talking about. We take the shape of what we pour ourselves into. So this is not a Saturnian energy. Saturn actually creates the shape that it wants. Like, it creates the boundaries. Water knows no boundaries. So it's very important. Now I'm going to say this in the Scorpio video. I'm going to say this in the Pisces video. So important for water signs to know their boundaries now. Especially because we have Capricorn at home in a very cardinal earth sign. Now Cancer, you are a cardinal water sign. So you can really cardinal signs are all about action. So you can, in karma is about action too, whether it's our action now or action down the road right here, what goes around comes around type of thing. Either way, it's going to become an action. People always get what they deserve, whether it's good or bad. So it's very important that you're creating the boundaries with the relationship with yourself, and boundaries within your emotions, and boundaries with who you give that healing energy to, right? As Cancer, I know you heal your partner. They have sex with you, they're healed. They sleep next to you, healed. If you're with a Cancer, you're healed. No matter what, it's just their energy. The moon is a very healing, planet. So, be careful who you give that beautiful energy to, Cancer. Careful who you're sleeping next to and letting love on you, because you want to make sure that it's all about fairness now, because Saturn is going to karmically make sure that where it's not fair, you're going to have to create boundaries and limits and restriction. Now, this is really getting serious, whereas before it could have just been whatever, but now there's going to be Cancers everywhere that are all of a sudden very serious about the relationships and partnerships they have with other people. And if you're wondering over the next 3 years why you're getting so serious, why you just left that person because they weren't serious enough for you, well, this is Saturn. This is Saturn teaching you the greater lesson of this. And another note I took here is that some of you, I took notes about Saturn in the 7th house. And this is where Saturn is for you. Saturn in the 7th house has an influence over people to where they may not marry or commit at this time. So that's an interesting way that this may play out for some of you. Some of you it may play out in a way that you don't want to get married in the next 3 years. You could have had plans to get married this year in 2018. But maybe you're not an astrologer, but if you're watching my video, you obviously know about astrology somewhat. So if you're wondering, I don't want to marry this person. I wanted to in 2017. We're supposed to get married in February. And now I just really don't want to. Well, Pisces Priestess is telling you that this is common. This is something that happens when a serious energy enters a part of our life where we just want to be free. We just want to be free with the person we love, right? We just want to be free. But Saturn is not a freeing energy. It's kind of a chaining energy. If you look at the Devil card, it's about being chained to people. So you want to be careful about those codependent karmic relationships, because karmic relationships, it's two people, and what's connecting them is something that's very, very chain like, and it's like you can't get rid of them. You can't move on from this until you learn that karmic. I don't want to advertise karmic relationships as something that's so beautiful. They're beautiful to a certain extent. I love the idea of reincarnating into a life with someone. Like, hey, I know you from a past life. But hey, you actually stabbed me in the back in that past life, so I hate you, so karmic relationships are beautiful in a sense that they're important, but you could want to rip this person's head off, okay? Some of you could find yourself in karmic relationships, karmic partners within the next 3 years. Now, some of you, those karmic partners can restrict or be limited. Some of you may not find yourself in these partnerships. It depends on your relationship with Saturn. And, it depends on your energies, and everyone has different energies. And like I said, some of you may be thinking twice about getting married or even committing to one relationship at this time because someone may not be serious enough for you. You're being restricted. You have to understand, if someone doesn't understand, why won't you be with me, Cancer? Well, it's because Saturn's in my 7th house, and it's restricting my relationships with other people. And Saturn's going to be in Pisces' 11th house. So I kind of understand. What you might be going through, Cancer. Now, for those of you who do commit, this is a serious commitment that you're going to make. And you're going to have to if you do commit, you want to be sure. If you get married within the next 3 years, and I know there's lots of people getting married, so you want to make sure that you are absolutely certain about this person. If it's a karmic partner, you're going to be certain about it because the chemistry is going to be there. You're going to know, you're going to recognize this person, you're going to be familiar. So any commitments that you do make in business relationships, any partnerships or anything like that, you want to be serious about it. Another way that this energy can play out, you guys, is that your partner, your spouse, it can be they could turn into more of a parent figure for you. I don't know how you'll handle that, Cancer. Either you or the other person may take on this kind of parenting role. And that's not always sexy to people. Some people don't like to be told what to do or to be taken care of like a child. Like, don't treat me like a child. You might struggle with that a little bit. Cancer, you are the cosmic child of the zodiac wheel. You come right before Leo, so you're Leo's subconscious. So you have that childlike essence. I think that you guys believe in the universe in a very beautiful, innocent way. And, you're very calm about that. You put your emotion into it. So, it could be easy for you to slip into this kind of role in your relationship where your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, they may take on this kind of parenting role, maybe this authority figure, because Saturn rules authority figures. Now, this is also the father, so the relationship with your guys' father, or father-like figures, it could intensify, or there could be some karma hashing out there over the next 3 years. For some of you, that could be a very good thing. And as far as your partner goes, with them acting like a parent, you could just attract older partners. So, you guys could be dating people who are much, much older than you. So just know that might. Another thing is, you guys, over the next 3 years, you might take a sudden interest in society's approval of your partner. Like, I don't really want to marry this person because I don't know what society will think about it, right? This is lesbian or homosexual relationships or even the age. Some of you might not get married to someone that's a karmic partner and they're supposed to be with you, soulmate. This is soulmates and twin flames as well. Okay, twin flames, I'm going to do a whole nother video on that. But twin flames and karmic partnerships and soulmates, they all dance together. So this is beautiful, Cancer. Over the next three years, there's going to be people in partnerships, whether they're romantic or not. You're going to be really attracting people in your life that are you've met them in a past life. This has already happened. Karma is something that's already happened before. The rings around Saturn they've went around a lot. You know, they went around, it's the same rings, right? The zodiac wheel is the same zodiac wheel. I can't really circle it. It's kind of weird. But you know, you can, is it really the same circle if you're traveling around it differently? So, you know, that's my thing there, is that this has already happened. The energy that we experience with this karmic wheel, the wheel of karma, it's a real thing. And that's the wheel of fortune, or the world card in tarot. So just know that these partnerships, or even the relationship with your dad, or these authority figures that kind of come into your life over the next 3 years, you know, it's meant to happen. It's already happened in another realm for you. So I wrote here, being tied down versus opening up and being vulnerable. So remember how I told you, for some people, some of you, this is going to manifest in a different way. Some of you may attract karmic partners. Others of you are going to limit those from coming in because you want it to be serious and nothing but. So you just have to decide whether you're a Cancer that wants to be tied down, or if you don't want to be vulnerable. I know that you guys are, you know, being that cardinal water sign, you are always vulnerable, but you have this shell to protect you. So you want to be careful there. Be careful of making yourself, so if you are one of those Cancers that are like, nope, I don't want to be tied down, Saturn is already tying me down. It's like, you know what I just heard is that you guys are in a relationship with Saturn. Like, Saturn in the 7th house is like being in a relationship with Saturn. It's 6 o'clock. My alarm just went off. But yeah, very interesting there, that pretty much, Cancer, you're always in a relationship with Saturn. Saturn is your opposite sign. It's Capricorn, you know. And on that wheel right there, you guys are in a relationship with Capricorn. Your energy in the sky. So, hello. You know, you guys are dating one of the most authoritarian, you know, so maybe you guys attract more serious partners in life. I'm not sure. Maybe some of you are dating cops, or dating like authority figures. Maybe some of you are dating military people, or someone who's older than you, someone who feels more like a parent. I don't know. But you're in a relationship with Saturn. Some of you are going to be like, fuck no, I don't want to be tied down. It makes me too vulnerable. And you know, you want to be careful, because that could make you enter into a period of loneliness and isolation. And you guys are already the hermit crabs, you know, and you're, you know, we want you guys to come out. Cancer is very healing, and it's the cardinal emotional sign. So, you know, it's about putting your emotions into action in a karmic way with people who are karmically on your path. Beautiful. I think I have a good feeling about it. So you want to be careful of partners who are overly strict, though. I have that written here too. Partners who are overly strict or limit your freedom. So it's about balancing that now, Cancer. It's about not being too isolated, not feeling too lonely. You know, if I was in a position to, you know, experience karmic relationships, soulmates, twin flames, I would not want to stay in the house and you know, limit the freedom of going out and meeting this person at the bar, or meeting this person at a yoga class, or whatever. So that's the information I have for you, Cancer. Very, very, very important that Saturn's in your 7th house. This is you and your partnerships in the world. This is your relationship to everything and everyone. So that's a pretty big area for Saturn to play itself out in your life. I didn't want these videos to be too long, guys, so they're kind of restricted and limited, like Saturn energy is. Go figure. So I couldn't really be as creative and as talky as I usually am. So I really want to encourage everyone to comment below any questions they may have. You can email me, you can Facebook me, anything, any way that it's easiest for you to reach me, whether it's just a comment or whether you want to reach out to me personally, privately, cool. We can talk more about how this 7th house energy may play out, okay? Other than that, you guys, that's just like really important. Saturn's opposite your sun now for the next 3 years. And that's all I got for you now. And other than that, I will be talking to you guys in a few weeks, probably a week or so, in your January videos, okay? And I might talk a little bit about Saturn then too. But either way, I'll have lots of fun information, okay? Sorry about all the seriousness, but what are you gonna do? Saturn. But alright guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.